In this video, I'll be sharing the most effective ways to save hard and smart using 8 easy steps. And if you follow it, you'll go from having $0 in savings to becoming a high saver. But first, did you know that only about 20% of Americans have more than $25,000 in their savings? It's a staggering statistic, especially when you consider that the average retiree needs just under $1.5 million for a comfortable retirement. Many people struggle to save not because they lack the desire, but because they're missing key principles. So to ensure you're on the right path from the get-go, I'm going to be breaking this video down into 2 segments. First, I'll lay the groundwork by exploring essential principles that you must internalize. Then I'll dive into the most effective strategies for maximizing your savings. If you want to get to the high saver level, the 8 steps I'm going to talk about are crucial. Pay attention to each because especially the first and fifth will explain why most of us fail to save the most. But before we get into the business of the day, have you seen the recent news? For years, there's been this widespread belief that Americans are pretty lousy at managing their money. They say people don't handle their money well, they live paycheck to paycheck, and saving is like a distant dream to the average American. And guess what? There's been a shift, a real paradigm shift, and frankly, I'm all for it. It's kind of like a plot twist in a thrilling movie. Suddenly, we're seeing signs that maybe, just maybe, Americans are getting their act together when it comes to saving money. Take Bloomberg's report from the last quarter of 2023 as an example, and boy was it a shock to see this headline. Yeah, you read that right. Revised government data revealed that Americans had stored several $100 billion more than anticipated. But what exactly is driving this change? On the bright side, I can think of 3 reasons. 1, it could be that people are starting to get smarter about their financial lives. Perhaps there's been a surge in financial education. With teachers like Warren Buffett and Dave Ramsey becoming more blunt, Americans could finally understand the importance of budgeting and saving for the future. Who knows? Maybe most Americans are learning a thing or two from this channel. Secondly, there is still the possibility of a sort of cultural shift towards more mindful spending habits, where people are choosing experiences over stuff and prioritizing their long-term financial goals. And then there's the fact that data from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis shows that on average, Americans in all 50 states experienced an increase in income during the latter half of 2023. It's all a mystery, guys. No one can pinpoint the reason with 100% certainty. But hey, as with any good mystery, there might be some darker forces at play too. As bearish as this sounds, the American economy is not all rosy at the moment. We may have survived a scare in the first quarter of the year, but the looming shadow of a potential recession is hard to ignore. It could spur Americans into action, prompting them to increase their savings in anticipation of tougher times ahead. In the world of investing, fear is often the enemy. FOMO and anxiety can make you susceptible to rash decisions and significant losses. But when it comes to investing, it's a different ballgame. Fear can be a powerful motivator, pushing us to take proactive steps to protect our financial well-being. Could that be at play here? Well, perhaps. In any case, whether it's a newfound sense of financial responsibility or just good old-fashioned fear, it looks like Americans are finally starting to take saving their money seriously. And come on, that's something worth celebrating. That said, it's quite the conundrum, isn't it? Despite reports of Americans making more income, why is saving still so hard? Well, it's easy to point out factors like the ever-rising cost of living, interest rates, and outstanding debt. Take February 2024, for instance, where personal expenditures surged by 0.8%, eclipsing the modest 0.3% increase in personal income during the same period, as reported by the Bureau of Economic Analysis. It's just sad. With the cost of living on the rise and expenses creeping up, how can Americans truly save? They'll either fall significantly short of their savings targets or strain themselves to barely achieve them. But fear not, because today is the day for a paradigm shift. As promised, I'll walk you through 8 easy ways to grow from $0 in savings to becoming a high saver. But first, what if I told you the reason you haven't cracked the savings code boils down to just 3 factors? Yep, there are only 3 reasons why you're not a high saver. Problem 1, you're probably not saving enough. Remember when I told you that up to 80% of Americans have less than $25,000 tucked away in their savings accounts? That staggering statistic wasn't just pulled from thin air. Check this out.
Are Americans doing a good job managing their savings? That's the big question. And according to a new survey from Santander Bank, the answer is somewhat mixed, with only about 20% of Americans saying they have more than $25,000 in their savings.
It may sound like a reach, but look around you. If you take a nice walk and survey 10 random people, you'll be shocked to find that less than 2 of them indeed have that amount of cooling in their accounts. And yeah, it's quite alarming, especially given that most Americans have no idea how financially dangerous that actually is. But that brings us to problem number 2.
We're finding that people are not necessarily doing all the planning that they need, and that many people don't have good awareness. They don't have financial confidence in terms of their knowledge and aren't taking the actions necessary to get to achieve those savings goals, or paying attention to what interest rate they're earning on that money they've worked so hard for.
Despite a growing trend towards saving, many Americans still fall short of building substantial reserves. And it all boils down to the issue of inadequate financial knowledge. As you just saw, a significant portion of savers lack proper planning and confidence, and this often leads to missed opportunities for maximizing their savings potential. They're essentially flying blind, unsure of how to make their money work for them. And this particular issue really segues to the next problem.
Still, 60% of savers are earning less than 3% on their savings. And with market rates in the 4 to 5% range, they're leaving real money on the table.
When it comes to saving, many Americans miss out on maximizing their earnings due to suboptimal interest rates. Rather than exploring better options, such as high-yield savings accounts or investment opportunities, they settle for traditional savings accounts. This complacency means leaving money on the table, money that could be growing at a faster rate elsewhere. But don't fret, because the solutions I'm about to tell you involves higher interest rate options that could significantly boost your savings. So stick around until the end to discover how you can make your money work harder for you. Okay, so in this first segment, we're going to explore the fundamental concepts and mindset shifts necessary for effective saving, starting with number 1, understanding the concept of cash flow. For the uninitiated, cash flow refers to the incomings and outgoings of cash. It's like an ever-moving stream of water. If more money comes into your account than goes out, then your flow is positive. But if it's the other way around, then, well, it's negative. Now, why is cash flow so crucial for aspiring high savers? It's simple. Cash flow management enables you to meet your current financial obligations while also laying the groundwork for future financial success. By maintaining a healthy balance between inflows and outflows of cash, you can navigate daily expenses, plan for your future, and build a robust financial cushion to weather any storms that may come your way. So you see, it's always important for you to have a proper breakdown of how your cash flows. Always review your income and expenses to see how your spending habits play out. Failure to do so eliminates the possibility of the next step, which sadly means you're going to fail every time. Step 2 is recording your expenses. Why is this so important? Well, think of it like turning on a light when you walk into a dark room. Just as you'll be able to see everything in the room in an instant, recording your expenses will show you exactly where your money is really going. You'll get a crystal clear picture of your habits and where you might be overspending. And the best part is that this step is totally easy. You can start by jotting down every penny you spend, from groceries to gas to the morning coffee. Then categorize your expenses, what's essential, like bills, and what's discretionary, like eating out. And when you figure out poor spending patterns or areas where you can cut back, tackle it with a fiery vengeance with step number 3, distinguish between your wants and needs. Guys, this might sound really funny, but one of the major reasons why Americans fail to become high savers is because they can't differentiate between their lefts and rights. They don't know their needs or their wants. So what's the difference? Needs are the basics. Things like food, shelter, utilities. That's the stuff you need to survive. Wants, on the other hand, are the extras, like that fancy new gadget or eating out at a fancy restaurant. When you blur the lines between your wants and needs, you're playing a dangerous game with your finances. A flashy new car might be tempting, but is it a need or a want? If you already have one that works, why should you be blowing your income away on an expense you don't need? And it's worse when you're paying it off with debt. Putting your needs first is crucial because it allows you to prioritize your spending based on what's truly essential for your well-being. When you can clearly identify your needs and wants, you're better equipped to make conscious and deliberate choices about how you allocate your financial resources. So, for a quick recap, you now know how cash flow works, how to record your expenses, and why you should be prioritizing your needs over your wants, right? Good. Now that you know what you spend in a month, you can begin with step 4, crafting a healthy budget. Now, I don't know your financial situation or how much you can afford to save each month, but in any case, your budget should show what your expenses are relative to your income so that you can plan your spending and limit overspending. Also, be sure to accommodate a sum for unplanned expenses. Here, you want to create a portion of your budget for savings and aim to save an amount that feels manageable initially. Over time, you can then gradually increase your savings to 15 or 20% of your income. But speaking of raising the bar over time, this is the second segment of today's video. The first was more of the groundwork and the essential principles that you must internalize, but here you'll learn the most effective strategies for maximizing your savings and becoming a high saver. So step number 5 is setting savings goals. Believe it or not, guys, setting a savings goal is the fuel you need to become a saver. Let's take a random guy called Mark, a guy who's always struggled to make big savings, for example. Without a clear goal in mind, our guy was simply flapping in the breeze. Sure, he put the occasional dollar in the savings jar, but it never quite led to anything substantial. However, when he decided to save up for a dream vacation to Hawaii, everything changed. Suddenly, he had a tangible target to work towards, and it motivated him to cut unnecessary expenses and prioritize his savings. When it comes to saving, it's essential to distinguish between short-term and long-term goals. Short-term goals are those you aim to achieve within the next few months to a year. This could include building an emergency fund, saving for a vacation, or making a down payment on a car. Long-term goals, on the other hand, are plans you have for a more distant future. This could involve buying a home, funding a remodeling project, saving for your child's education, or planning for retirement. If you think you need the funds in the near future or require quick access to them, you might want to explore options like a savings account or a certificate of deposit, which involves locking in your funds for a predetermined period at an interest rate usually higher than that of a savings account. But hey, if your savings goals include retirement or funding your child's education, you might want to explore FDIC-insured individual retirement accounts, like IRAs, or 529 plans, both of which offer tax advantages for savings. Secondly, securities like stocks or mutual funds, which can be accessed through investment accounts with a broker-dealer, are another good option. Personally, though, I advise you to start your savings journey by setting a small, achievable short-term goal for something enjoyable and beyond your regular monthly budget. Think along the lines of paying a small debt. Achieving this wouldn't only bring immediate rewards, but also provide a psychological boost, reinforcing the habit of saving. By experiencing the satisfaction of reaching these milestones, you'll be motivated to continue saving and reap the benefits in the long run. But regardless of what goal you prefer, failing to set a savings goal can permanently derail you from becoming a high saver. Without clear objectives, you may lose focus and find yourself constantly dipping into your savings without making any real progress towards your financial goals. Step number 6 is create a high-interest savings account. A high-yield savings account is a type of savings account that offers substantially higher interest rates on deposits compared to those traditional savings accounts, making this an attractive option for those looking to grow their savings. Unlike standard savings accounts, high-yield accounts provide better returns, allowing your deposited funds to grow faster over time. The key advantage of a high-yield savings account lies in its ability to offer competitive interest rates while ensuring your money remains readily accessible. This makes it an excellent choice for storing short-term savings and specific financial goals, such as building an emergency fund or saving for a down payment on a home. Compared to investing in the stock market, where returns may be higher but come with a risk of market volatility, a high-yield savings account provides a safer alternative. It offers a predictable level of returns without the risk of losses, making it an attractive option for risk-averse savers. Additionally, high-yield savings accounts are typically FDIC insured, providing added peace of mind knowing that your funds are protected up to FDIC limits, even in the event of bank failure. So again, why shouldn't this be your go-to account for savings? It beats the traditional alternatives by a country mile. Step number 7 is make it automatic. Guys, automating your finances is one of the smartest strategies for managing your money effectively. By setting up automatic transfers and payments, you streamline the process of allocating funds to savings, investments, and bills, ensuring that your financial obligations are met consistently and on time. By doing this, you're eliminating the need for manual intervention and reducing the risk of forgetting or delaying payments, helping you maintain financial discipline. One of the primary benefits of automating your finances is the convenience it offers. Once you've configured your automated system, you can sit back and relax, knowing that your financial tasks are being immediately taken care of. This frees up time and mental energy that you can redirect towards priorities in your life. Secondly, automation promotes consistency in your savings habits. By automatically transferring a portion of your income into savings accounts or investment accounts, you establish a regular savings routine without having to rely on willpower alone. This consistent saving behavior can lead to significant long-term financial growth and stability. If you really want to become a high saver, automation is a game changer. It can simplify your financial life, cultivate consistent savings habits, and pave the way towards financial freedom and security. And when everything is said and done, the final step to becoming a high saver is to have regular reviews. Whether it's on a weekly, monthly, or quarterly basis, taking the time to assess your financial situation allows you to gauge your progress, identify any areas that need improvement, and make necessary adjustments to stay aligned with your objectives. And although it's actually the final step, it's arguably one of the most important ones on the list, especially if it's a long-term goal. The reviews will serve as checkpoints along your financial journey, holding you accountable to your objectives and allowing for timely adjustments as circumstances evolve. Now that we've covered all these strategies to go from $0 in savings to being a high saver, if you're looking for an even faster way to multiply your money and achieve higher returns, you've got to check out our previous video on the 3 fast ways to multiply $2,000 in 2024 by Warren Buffett. There, you'll discover invaluable insights and techniques to rapidly grow your savings and unlock the potential for massive wealth accumulation.